Can everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have an amendment to the agenda this evening to add to new business. Number 3, emergency radio encumbrances.
Any other changes?
Mhm.
I make a motion, we accept the December 23rd, 2024 agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public participation policy applies to all selectmen meetings. A copy of it is in the back of each agenda, posted outside this meeting room and on our website. Public input. Seeing no one for public input, we'll close up public input and no appointments this evening.
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll go right to new business. Police Department proposal lease purchase 2025 Tahoe. Chief?
Any gentlemen? So you have before you a proposal to enter a lease purchase agreement for a 2025 Chevy Tahoe. I think the last time was before the board, I expressed interest in holding off until 2026 for any vehicles. But this information kind of came up as I was looking for a resolution for Unit 6 with the blown motor. One of the possibilities for that was to replace the car. So we did some pricing research. And so I felt it was important that I share with you the information I got to see what decision you guys want to make for tonight. So the Tahoe itself is about $2,200 more than the 2024 that we bought earlier this year. So not as significant an increase as what we saw between 23 and 24. So what we looked at was trading in the 6 as is, and they offered $1,000 trade for that, which obviously wasn't worth much. We also looked at Unit 3, which is a K9, has like 130 or 135,000 miles, and they offered $3,500 for that. And just to see where we stood, we discussed to trade in for one of our mainline cars with like 70 or 71,000 miles on it. And so the trade value of that was $9,500. So it gives us a sense of where we're at right now with the fleet vehicles, because they're all right in that range for mileage. Also part of that was looking at the vehicle equipment outfitting. So we reached out to Nevo, who just completed the project with us, to discuss pricing for another Tahoe. And although everything is the same, we learned that Wayland, which is the primary manufacturer for the equipment that we use, is going to be going up 6% in 2025. So at the turn of the calendar year, it's going to go up 6%. So he put together a bid price for us, reflecting that change, and also increases in his labor costs. So although he was, for this last project for us, he was $18,798. He quoted us at $19,902. But in the email that he sent to us, he indicated there'd probably be some other increases in some other equipment line or equipment items. So he told us to figure more like 21,000. So it's gone up pretty significantly. With that, Lieutenant Tolios had reached out to what was it? Global Public Safety. They had bid on it, the prior project as well, and they were a little higher than Nevo was. And so they expressed some disappointment in not getting the first project, and so it was explained to them that their price was a little high. But if they want to try sharpening their pencil and see what they could come up with, they could put a bid together for us. And so they came back with a bid price of $17,754. And how they're doing that is if we place the order before the close of the calendar year, they'll honor the 2024 pricing. So that's why they have a much lower bid price on that.
Okay.
We did reach out to Ossipee Mountain. They gave us some information on one scenario, which was to keep it a very limited equipped vehicle, but they did not give us a full outfit bid price on it. As I recall, I think on the last one, they were higher price than the others anyway. So we also shopped around for the rate. The rate did come down about 0.5%. So basically through that process of taking a look at those vehicles and weighing out what to do with unit 6. And now recognizing that if we wait till 2026, we're going to have fairly limited trade-in value in those cars. They'll be assumably about 100 or just over 100,000 miles. So you're looking more like probably the K9 car value in that 3,500 range. They'll be a year older. So we could capitalize on that $5,000 or $6,000 difference potential loss that we might have if we wait another year. And also to save another $3,000 or so on the equipment installation. And then there's also just the reality that with unit 10 would be the one I'd recommend. It's the highest mileage, highest engine hours. That one car, we've been having a lot of issues with CV joints and shafts, and he knows because he's been turning the wrenches on them. The 10 has not had those yet. And so the idea is I'm pretty sure they're coming, and we could avoid a couple of $1,000s in repairs on that 10. So the idea was I bring it to you guys to let you kind of chew on it, ask any questions you have, but I think it might be beneficial for us to take advantage of having some trade value still in the car, get the lower price on the emergency equipment, and then save us a little bit of extra costs as far as maintenance on the older car.
No, unit 10 has, has 214 equivalent mileage, idle hours.
Yeah, that's using that factor of
Mhm.
about 30 miles per hour of idle time.
Mhm.
So the actual miles on is 71,000. But yes, with the idle hours of 4,700, it's essentially the equivalent of 214,000 miles.
So that would be the most practical one to replace,
Right, correct.
Surprisingly has the most value in it, though.
Yeah.
That one has the most value.
most value.
In looking them all over, this one was the logical candidate because it hasn't. We've done the majority, a lot of work to the other cruisers, and the drive shafts alone, they're notorious for taking out the center carrier bearing in the drive shafts. It's a non-serviceable part. So I got to replace the entire drive shaft at a cost of, between parts and labor, it's 13.
Somewhere in that part, yeah.
About 1,300. So this car hasn't seen any of that, and just because of the amount of the idle hours, when we looked at the 6, which needed the motor, and then we compared it to this 10, it's, I don't know if it was an imperfection in a head gasket or something that had that unit 6 prematurely fail, but unit 10 is definitely on me. It's gonna
But
be
unit 3 didn't look like the one to replace.
No, I mean,
That was still hanging in there.
that one's still hanging in there. The only reason unit 3 is, the officer that drives that vehicle, the K9 car, he's been the only one that's ever driven that car.
Right.
So that one I'm pretty comfortable with. I've been through that car this year alone twice, like a full checkout. And he very rarely has any issues because he's the only one driving it.
Okay.
It's dedicated to him.
Mhm.
So I would assume that one's probably gonna be kept in reserve, I would think, along with the 6 that we just did the motor in, because essentially the chassis on unit 6 may have 70,000 miles on it, which is fine. The engine's gonna reset back to 0. So that car could be, and unit 3 would obviously probably be one of the last ones that we would have to replace.
Yeah, unit 3 is the K9, so it
Yeah,
has all the
right.
equipment, and we wanted to run that as far as we can before we have to bear the cost of transitioning that equipment out. And if it does go before we're ready, it can transition into unit 7, which has limited equipment. It's kind of the easiest one to kind of plug and play with. So we're going to use the 3 for as long as we can. And like you said,
Good.
one person driving it is taking pretty good care of it, and even though it's high miles.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was the K9 unit.
Yeah,
That
unit 3 is the K9. Yep.
Okay.
And so the other part that I didn't really discuss too was obviously how we're going to pay for it. The recommendation, of course, is the police detail revolving
Mhm.
account. We've had a good year, and I'm not looking just solely on this year alone, but looking at the history, when you take what we've billed for and just subtract our payroll obligations, we're
Right.
averaging about 49,000 a year. So of course, that ebbs and flows a little bit depending on what kind of details and projects are going on. And if we added this on, so the payment I had spelled out in there, the recommended one with GM Financial is 10,422 to add to our $15,000 payment currently. So we'd be on an obligation of about 25,000 a year when we're averaging 49. That's a comfortable place. I wouldn't want to tap it too much more than
Much
that,
more than that.
because we need it to continue to accumulate so we can buy the equipment for any
That's right.
future purchases. So
you're
so
comfortable with that?
I feel comfortable with this, but
Mhm.
I think it's pretty much stretching our account.
And you're getting
far as we-
9,500 for the trade-in.
For the trade,
unit
correct?
So didn't we just authorize you to purchase 2 Tahoes?
Yes,
So this would be a third Tahoe in 1 year.
correct.
And where do those Tahoes show up on your list of the fleet?
So I'm showing the vehicles that are the 2019 Dodge Chargers. That's just a list of those vehicles to show that, because they're the ones with the higher miles.
So we've got, in addition to this list, we have 2 more Tahoes at least. I mean, we must have more than that, right?
We have 2
With-
Tahoes and then the F-250, I believe, right?
Right. So that would be unit 4, 8, and 9. 9 is the pickup truck.
This would mean in 2025, we would be all set for the year
Correct.
and then,
So-
and not work into any lease purchase until 2026.
Right. 2026 budget process is when we'd be looking on what the next stage would be, which
Mhm.
was the original plan. I just kind of came across this info
Mhm.
and felt you guys should be made aware of it, so you can decide what you want to do. If you want to hold out till the 2026, we can do that. I mean, this car isn't in desperation necessarily, but we just won't have quite the same trade value, and we'd be paying more for the equipment
Mhm.
to put the car together, so. And
then
rough estimate, about $10,000, $12,000 probably swing
Mhm.
by the time we get to 2026. And that's assuming we don't have another big price increase on the cruiser itself, but
Right.
hopefully that's tempered down.
And then the outfit is the 17,754.
Correct.
Any other questions?
I assume unit 7 is the one that you use most of the time,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So if the K-9 unit 3 dies in the next 6 months, you want to transfer everything into the unit that you're currently using,
Correct.
and then what would you be using?
So that kind of tied into why the timeline of 2026 is what I was thinking is about the life extent I was thinking we'd get out of 3. 3, I'm sorry, the K-9 would move out, so the 3 now needs to be replaced. Whatever new purchase we bring in would become a patrol car, and I would cycle into one of the older cars.
Yeah, because we've got some of these older cars, 1, 2, and 5 look like they're getting up there too in their equivalent mileage.
Right. And that's the dilemma I'm at, is they're all aging at the same rate and trying to make sure we don't get stuck with multiple cars at the same time.
If I may, which units are used at schools?
It can vary, especially right now, well, when cars are down and not. So like right now, I'm out of the 7, so they've been using the 7 while the 6 has been getting fixed. And then it can rotate between some of the other ones. We've been working through the decals too. So like I just dropped off the 2 because the 1 was over there. So the 2 is being used at the school. So it can vary. And
Mhm.
once we get a little more stabilized and we aren't chasing these sort of maintenance issues, the cars that are higher miles that we're trying to extend life will either go there or be on the details. So we'll try to be judicious with that as much as we can. We want the best conditioned vehicles as the front line, because those are the ones that are driven the hardest. They're going to be most apt to be in high risk type scenarios. So we want the best cars on the front is what we try to
Right,
do.
of course. So the schools can definitely have the ones that sit more
Right,
during the course of the day.
correct. And so like, one possibility, it all depends on how it all shakes out and works out, but even like unit 3, I'm projected 2026. If we can get that far with it, great. If there's still some life in that thing, and if we're not going to get any value out of that, that could become an SRO car or a detail car until it really does go beyond serviceability.
Right.
And the other part, like I was talking with Nick, is how expensive these parts are. I mean, you could kind of use it as a parts car, because
I would highlight, we discussed that pretty good, and I would highly recommend that, especially, one of the other reasons too that unit 10 stuck out pretty good with me was, I mean, you're talking about maintenance items here and there, but it needs a headlight assembly. A front headlight assembly is $800 for one headlight. And that particular vehicle needs it. They're coming to the point where it's odds and ends type stuff that we're gonna have to start replacing.
Kind of nickel and dime. things.
Yeah. That motor got us good.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief?
So you're comfortable, everything, all the accounts and everything will be comfortable if we vote to,
Yes, based upon the history going back, and what do I go back to 2019? I think I'm showing you folks on there. And then no, I did 2016, that net income, even that one actually shows 51. I feel very confident that we can meet our obligations with that, still be putting some money aside as, because we'll have other things, other projects that come down the pike here within the next handful of years, like radar units and tablets and those sorts of things. And we use grants and stuff to offset our costs. But we need to have the funding there, and we're trying to keep that stuff out of the operating budget as much as possible. So this would be manageable. But again, I don't think we're gonna be able to squeeze too many more or any
What do you
lease
think,
payments.
what do you think your balance would be after the purchase?
So
For
my-
the police detail?
I don't have a finalized accounting, but I have tracked this year, and part of what gets a little bit lost in the shuffle is we receive money, it gets deposited into the account, and then finance department is tracking each individual payroll. So I went through that and factored in as if all our bills were paid today, to find out actually where we're landing. And we're about 121,000 at close of business for this year, up from 108 at the close of business last year.
Okay.
So we're comfortable, but it's not one of those things where we want to let the guard down and,
Right.
and start spending through it. Like I said, I think we can manage these 3 lease payments out of there pretty comfortably and still be able to accumulate the money to do the emergency equipment and some of those other projects. But I wouldn't want to push it too much further than that. Right. Is where I'm at.
Well, that, I mean, that 120,000, that's not really a sustainable number. I mean, that's got a lot of Farmington coverage included in it, right?
Right.
And in theory, they're gonna have their acts pulled together soon and,
Right. Well, it was New Durham, and so.
but
we're
New
scheduled
Durham,
out
yeah,
for-
I'm sorry, yeah.
My understanding is they're hiring a chief. I don't know how quick he's gonna get some people in, into the building. But we got scheduled out for the next, I think, 2 weeks. But right, that's not gonna be there on a consistent basis going forward. But just by virtue of how these projects sort of come around, the tree cutting and fiber optics and things like that seem to pop up every couple of years. That's where I kind of, I'm trying to rely on what that average is.
Yeah.
And not looking at just one peaked year. And we utilize quite a bit. I don't know if I held it out to you guys or not, and what I presented to you. But we,
The performance report is what you have here from 2019 to 2024. Is that what you're looking for?
right, yes, yep. So the expenses that we put forward, we've spent 65,000 this year between the lease payment, motorcycle lease, all the vehicle equipment, the decals. We bought a radar and a LiDAR, all very important, good projects for us. But that's, where am I? I should have done these graphs in different colors so I'd be able to see what they are. Yeah, so the net income for 2024, I had the 77,799, and we've spent the 12,000, the 65,000 out of that. So we didn't use all the money that we made. We're still trying to get that account to accumulate. And that's where I say I feel comfortable with that average of that about 49,000. And to commit ourselves to having a $25,000, $26,000 lease payment
Mhm.
that will still be able to accumulate at a reasonable rate.
Thank you. And
anybody else
any,
have
any other questions?
like car issue related stuff? I can answer any of the mechanical stuff.
Yeah,
I think-
no, I don't,
I think I'm all set now.
yeah, I mean, if,
As long as you're
Account looks like it's
comfortable
gonna
with the
hold it.
revolving account
yeah,
and you're comfortable with how this is gonna be handled, I'm fine.
Right, I am, and I just want to emphasize that I'm not going to come back in 3 months and go, hey, let's do another car.
No.
This was simply because the cost saving is pretty apparent to me if we were to make the move
right.
now
If-
versus
if
wait
it
till
saves us the
2026.
12, 13 grand.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
it's gonna
And-
help us on a revolving fund because it's not gonna take that extra 12, 13 grand out next year.
exactly.
I think it
So-
also, unfortunately, I don't think it sets a very good image buying 3 cruisers in 1 year.
And that's definitely a factor.
No, that's,
It's definitely a factor.
It is a factor. I wish I could see the maintenance bills on these things.
And that, to me, the emphasis would be that it's coming out of the revolving account and not coming out of the
It's-
operating budget. I know we're in.
Right,
default,
it's not.
Yeah,
And I know we're saying this right now. It doesn't mean that everybody, when it comes time to vote, is thinking the same thing.
I think
You gotta get it.
a very small minority might understand that.
Right.
Mhm. But explaining it like the way we are and it helps people understand when people ask these questions, that it's coming out of the police detail revolving fund and not out of the general fund.
Well,
Okay,
I'll make a motion. We authorize the chief to enter into a lease purchase for a 2025 Chevy Tahoe PPV for the total amount of. Right there. Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
I give you a cheat. I give you a cheat.
Yeah, we go. It is a cheat sheet. I was trying to.
I just gave-
Yeah. I motion to authorize Chief Todd McDougal to enter a 5-year lease purchase agreement through GM Financial for a 2025 Chevy Tahoe PPV from McMulkin Chevrolet for a net cost of $45,356. This transaction will include trading in unit 10 for $9,500. The 5 annual lease payments of $10,422.32 will be paid from the police detail revolving fund for a total cost of $52,111.60. I also motion to authorize the chief to expend up to $17,754 from the police detail revolving fund to Global Public Safety for upfitting the emergency equipment, and $650 to Moosebrook Signs to install the vehicle decals.
do we have a second?
Second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna say no.
Thank you.
Yeah, she does.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Okay, fire department, extrication, equipment purchase request.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you tonight, granting permission to try and order extrication prior to the first of the year. This expenditure is part of the 2025 capital improvement plan as outlined in the 25 to 30 CIP plan. We were told there will be an increase after the first of the year on the extrication equipment. They haven't given me a hard number. They're floating around 3 to 4% increase for the 25 pricing. Our current extrication equipment is knocking on 20 years old. It's a hydraulic system. We're looking to move to a battery electric system. Driven by the station, we've got a couple of demo cars that were out back that we've used for training, but also we 3 different vendors on the extrication equipment, trying to see if there's anything else out there other than what we're, the brand we're used to. And we tried Homaltro, Genesis, and Amkis. The flavor or the direction, we want to hopefully stick with Homaltro. I'm getting information because I'm still new, but great service record that they've utilized here in Alton with the current hydraulic system. Just trying to bring us into the 21st century. Vehicles are designed different than they were 20 years ago. They may be lighter, but sometimes the materials that they're constructed with, different application from the hydraulic system we currently have with the cutters and spreaders. So it makes it maybe a little bit more difficult for that extrication process. With that, also requesting to see if to upgrade our stabilizing struts. We currently use Rescue Jack, looking to stay with Rescue Jack. The new system, or it's all-in-one kind of system. Current system we have is a pin system. Bent, lost. The ratchet system is not integrated, so the new system that they have out there, everything's integrated kind of into one platform, so we don't have to worry about losing parts, pieces, getting bent.
Okay.
That type of thing. The new system also has a slight lifting capability on it that could assist us with certain applications out there. And also adding two or replacing two airbags for our air system. So we have a current air system that's in place. We just need to replace a couple bags that were in there. That's the Saba lifting bags.
Mhm.
So total cost project, if approved, $64,117 to come out of the fire department equipment CRF. Current balance is 1.757 million in that account. And any questions or anything I
With
can?
the, with the old equipment, can that be sold, traded in, anything like that?
I haven't looked into that. It's the particular model that we currently have. I think it was discontinued in 2014. It's still serviceable. It still has an application. I'd like to run it as a backup system in the event. It's not costing us anything per se. We did have an issue. We had a recent motor vehicle accident out on Route 11 with was pretty severe. Actually, we lost pressure in the system. We had to request mutual aid partners down the road to utilize their system. I think it'll be obsolete. I don't know how much we would be able to get for it, but if we were able to just kind of maintain it as long as we can, in addition to get a couple tools working simultaneously would be great. They are a little bit slower compared to the EV or the EV, the electric tool system. So there's significant upgrades. I can look into that aspect about trading. I don't think there was any trade value, but
Would you put it in, in one of the other stations as a
Yeah,
backup?
so a
or
backup.
East or west? Or
so
whatever?
we're still looking at maybe how we're gonna disperse the new equipment if approved, whether or not we could fit it on an ambulance, because we're running that first due, and where it doesn't require a power plant or power unit and cable or cord systems, might be a feasible idea as well.
Are these all always used together at the same time, or do you use them sometimes for separate applications?
So the cutter spreaders, we could use all that at once, technically. Currently, the way our system works, we can operate two pieces of equipment at once on the hydraulic pump. So that might be the cutter in a ram or the spreader in a ram. With the battery operated system, they're all independent of one another, and we can utilize all the tools simultaneously. So that we don't have to worry about the power source and having to disconnect hydraulic lines, hook up a ram to roll a dashboard and make a relief cut with the cutter. So it is a lot. The usability and the ergonomics, the way the tools are currently designed
Mhm.
is a lot more conducive to what we do today than 20 years ago, even 40 years ago. But yeah, currently on the hydraulic system, two tools at once, and then the battery operated, they're all independent. So
And did you say you were gonna put these on one of the ambulances?
we're discussing maybe putting one of like the cutter, or if we, on an ambulance, if we had room, just hypothetically, I don't know. It's not a definitive, where we're running two people on first due, the ambulance typically, whether or not we're getting people on a call back to grab the rescue or whatnot. So just as an idea, kind of floating that around.
And do certain people have to be obviously trained?
Yep, so,
And so you have certain people on staff that are trained to use these?
Yep.
And then the new ones will have to be trained again.
correct. So
Um,
no technical like certification is required to utilize them. With the salesperson, we'll get them in. We have a couple vehicles still out behind the station for anybody that might not have been available when we were testing them out, but we do training on them.
And how often do you think you actually use these, even the ones you have now, on the field?
Yeah, hit or miss. So it depends on the severity of the, I mean, you could go once a month, or you could go a couple months without it, or you might utilize them several times. So
You
I
never
mean,
know.
you never know. So it's just one of those tools that need to have and hope we don't need to utilize it.
Right. Okay. Any other questions?
So I noticed that the whole Homatro is a 7 amp hour battery. Somebody else had quoted a 9 amp hour battery.
Yeah, I think that was on the Hearst. Also with the Home Ultra, getting a couple, batteries and then, additional batteries so they can swap in and out in the event that we had to replace a battery.
Yeah, I did. One of these quotes talks about a Milwaukee
Yeah, I just saw the
battery
19.
where this looks like one heck of a proprietary battery here at $825 a pop.
Mhm.
Um,
So yeah, the Genesis
about 4
utilizes the
times the
Milwaukee
Milwaukee.
battery.
Typically the batteries and things that die.
Yep, so on the current, on the Home Ultra, I know that there's a 2-year warranty on the battery and a 10-year limited warranty on the tools, depending on what the issue is with that.
And what is the Genesis?
They did not reply when asking about the warranty specific, and I didn't look up the spec sheet, I apologize.
Is for the price of one of those Comatro batteries, you could buy 3.5 Milwaukee
Mhm.
batteries of higher output.
Were they against the Genesis or they just like the Home Ultra better?
They weren't, I want to say they were against it. When they tested it, it was a little bit more cumbersome to use, the ergonomics with that particular tool. The Home Ultra, what I can even just from my brief interaction with the new battery operating system, just the way the head is designed on it, it's on an angle. You can change the handle like in a 360 degrees. The Genesis was more of a fixed uh, platform, if you will, a little bit heavier on the compared to the Home Ultra and the Hearst as well. For usability, that's the reason why they kind of, we were looking strongly, I think, at the Genesis initially. And then just overall with the just, I guess, the ergonomics, the weight, usability function of the Home Ultra. And then also the service that we've encountered in the past with the hydraulic system was, I guess, a push or a vote to say, hey, if we can get any of these, this is the one that we would like as a department to purchase.
Any other questions? For the chief? I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to authorize Chief Reiner to purchase the Comatro. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong every
No,
time.
you're doing great.
E-tool system, the Apex 4-point stabilizers and the Sava lifting bags for a grand total of $64,117 to be expended from the Fire Department Equipment CRF.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, chief. Okay, number 3, emergency radio encumbrances.
Mr. Chairman, on the table, there was a packet that, I put out for you folks. So looking at this, we, if you remember, in 2023 and in 2024, we put out warrant articles for emergency communication upgrades for the town. In 2023, the town allocated $100,000, and in 2024, we did an additional 50,000. On the back of that is the proposal that originally came out in 2023. from Two-Way Communications that outline the entire upgrade. This upgrade of communications came after our initial, well, several natural disasters that occurred that took out power for long periods of time. We ran into issues with our tower, with our repeater, the police department's outdated base unit and antenna system. So this proposal had originally outlined repairs, replacement to digital repeaters, new base units. If you recall, they also put a new antenna up on the clock tower here this year. The one that came down was originally struck by lightning. So we have done, up to this point, we have done $940.05 worth of upgrades. We're still in the process of doing the final touches, but it's been timely, just waiting for equipment orders to come from Motorola itself, from the manufacturer. But we have installed everything that has arrived up to this point. We currently still have $34,059.95 remaining from the $50,000 warrant article this year, that would still be covered under this original contract as far as the remaining items that need to be, so I'm requesting that the board authorize the encumbrance of the remaining $34,059.95 under the original agreement and contract presented by Two-Way.
I'll make a motion to, I'll make a motion to authorize the town administrator to go into the encumbrance of remaining balance of 34,000 59.95 to go under the original contract by Two-Way.
Second.
If that works for you.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have for encumbrances.
Okay. Very good. Old business, chief, fire department updated sign quotes.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Per recommendation, I did reach out to another company to get a secondary quote. I did try and get a third. And again, no one likes money, I guess, so I don't know. I did get a second quote from Sundance Sign out of Dover for the electronic message display board and static PVC topper. Their quote came in approximately $1,000 less than Alton Sign Company. Looking for a recommendation, or I'm impartial. The same exact equipment. I know maybe we like local business.
The roof on Sundance's is quite a bit different than
Correct.
Alton's.
Yes, it's a little bit of a different design. Similar, but different.
A little bit different.
So Alton Sign has more of a pitched A-frame sign above it, and the one from Sundance looks like it's kind of just a flat tiered sign. They both have the same hardware equipment when it comes to the electronic portion of the sign, same warranty issue. Obviously, Alton Sign Companies here in Alton could be a little bit faster response if we need any sort of warranty work or issue assistance, dealing with the electronic components of said sign.
So number three.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Number
weird.
three is the one that's, okay,
Yeah, number 3 is the one that would be the
local.
Alton sign with
Sign and Fleet Graphics.
the PVC topper. Yeah, the topper on it.
Mhm.
The sign, the static sign. And then Sundance this was the design.
And that
advertising.
one's, the number 3 is the one for 21,568.
Correct.
That, the local company.
Yeah, Alton Sign and Fleet
Mhm.
Graphics for 21,568.
And this is coming out of,
For that to Town Administrator Heath,
excuse me?
that I will refer the funding portion of it to
Mhm.
Town Administrator.
Okay. What is this?
So the proposal, if it so pleases the board, would be to allow us to utilize it out of the building maintenance line in the operating budget. And if I may have to cover that through the operating budget if so needed to pick up the residual of it, be able to utilize money from the building capital reserve as well.
So can you say that one more time?
Yeah. So to utilize the building maintenance line out of the operating budget,
How much is in that one?
off the top of my head,
Just a guesstimate.
I don't know. We there's usually $5,000 or $6,000 in there, 1,000.
And the rest coming.
But
out
we
of
can
what?
but we can allocate from another line if
From the
available, and yes, if
from the-
available and
From the
necessary.
capital reserve?
Yes,
Fire department capital reserve,
for the building capital reserve. Should we?
fire
should we
department
do-
building capital reserve.
Yes.
So Chief, the Sundance sign
Mhm.
says you gotta hire an electrician. Does Alton sign, do they include the electrician?
That I don't have the answer for. I do apologize. We had someone assist me with that. I didn't obtain that info from them. We have power run out to the current sign location, so I'm assuming there may be an electrician needed for Fulton sign. Do you know him specifically or?
Yeah, he did have to hire an electrician.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd have to be a licensed electrician.
Yeah, like-
Most likely.
Is there any other added expense other than the electrical that would need to, what about the site, the prep site work around it,
So it's going into the current location where the signposts are, and they're gonna utilize
so the base is staying the same, all that stuff staying?
The posts need to be
painted.
painted.
We can do that in-house. I have no problem. We sanding them.
Are they in? Perfect?
Yeah, they're heavy duty. They're very minimal, even surface rust on them. So it was basically the frame of the sign itself that deteriorated and disintegrated. But those posts are pretty heavy
Posts are
duty.
still in good shape.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a lot of money for a sign.
Oh,
And
I
I
don't
can't help that.
disagree.
I
Yep.
just have a little trouble with that.
Mhm.
But, I understand logistics of it.
Yeah, I mean, you get two quotes that are pretty close, so
Yeah.
it's not, apparently it's the right number.
Going
you know,
rate.
It's the
right in.
going rate.
Yeah,
I would be inclined if we do this to use a local person.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I know it's $1,000 more or thereabouts, but I'd prefer to use a local company.
Most definitely local content. Yeah.
get them to do it and throw in the electrician.
See what I can work on.
Any other questions for the chief? If not, then we'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we entertain, well, not entertain, that we use Alton Sign for the purchase of a Cirrus cabinet as above painted PVC name header, with the total being 21,568 to be paid for as the town administrator and the fire chief see fit, whether it be from the fire department building capital reserve fund or from the building maintenance. Is that a capital reserve fund as well?
No, that's
Just building maintenance fund?
If you want, I can clarify that for the motion for you.
Yes, please.
That'd be paid for out of the fire department operating budget with any residual needed to come from the fire department building capital reserve.
So moved.
I will second with a little discussion to add on to that.
Yes.
One little condition I'd like to see when this sign is installed,
Mhm.
that this sign be used by for all town purposes and town purposes only. That the sign would be for any of the departments that need to have something to put on the sign,
Mhm.
utilized by all departments, to have something that needs to be
Yes,
put
sir.
out there, and not to see anything that has anything to do with warrant articles or anything to do with anything else other than special notices to the public by the departments. And that would be one of my requests.
Understood.
Yep, I'll amend
So
that.
you don't want to put my birthday up there or anything?
Not this time. We'll make a
Okay.
small sign for you.
All right.
Use a paper one.
Do you want to amend mine to add that or just?
No, it's just a
I
kind of
agree with
a,
that. I agree with
if
that.
everybody agrees with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, chief.
Thank you very much. Hope everyone has a,
And what was his projected, I know he wants the 50% deposit. When was his projected completion date?
I'll work on it. I don't know if specifically, but I'm hoping with less than 30 days. The company that provides the hardware is right out of Portsmouth, actually. They're manufactured over there on East Tradeport, my understanding, so it's, I would imagine up to his workload and schedule.
Sounds good.
I will keep EA apprised and
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you very
Gary.
much. You have a good evening. Okay, old business number 2, warrant articles. We have all in our binders.
Chief. Be here Monday. Be here Monday. We're gonna connect on this. On the sign, we'll connect on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, chief. Okay, 2025 warrant articles. Now the question is, do we want to go item to item, every article? Do we want to read them and look at them and approve them one at a time? It's,
Let's, we would start with number 8, though.
we'll start with number
Yeah.
8. Yep.
Yep, the first one's.
Yep.
already- That's all.
Okay, I mean, I can read these in if you want and we can discuss.
Sure.
If that works.
Yeah.
Okay, starting with Article number 8, Benefit Pay Capital Reserve Trust Fund. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the Benefit Pay Capital Reserve Trust Fund previously established in 2000. Said funds are recommended by the town auditors to be used to pay for benefits accrued by town employees and redeem when they leave employment with the town of Alton. In accordance with the town personnel policy, majority vote required.
Do you want to do these one at a time? We got to make a motion to, is there a
We
motion?
Yeah,
probably-
we have to vote on one
We
at a
should
time.
vote on
Yeah,
one.
'cause
at
we
a
gotta
time.
record the vote.
Yeah. Okay, so,
Make a motion, we approve Article 8.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Article 9, Town Operating Budget. Shall the town raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote in the first session for the purpose set forth thereon totaling $10,407,350.00. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $9,729,012, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by the previous actions of the town or by law of the governing body, may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, Roman numeral 10 and 16, to take up an issue and a revised operating budget only. This article does not include special or individual articles voted separately. The operating budget appropriation shall be partially offset by $531,303 of FEMA reimbursements received by the town. This reimbursement does not apply to the default budget. Recommended, okay, so we can vote on that right now.
Make a motion, we approve Article number 9.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Article 10, Waterworks Operating Budget. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $541,430 for the operation and maintenance of the water distribution system for the ensuing year. Said sum is to be offset by users' fees. Should this article be defeated, the article budget shall be $538,474, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by the provisions, action of the town, or by law. This article does not affect the tax rate and is funded by the end users.
I will make a motion to approve Article 10. However, I would be remiss if I didn't add Mr. Shea's comments. Just that he would like to make sure that the town knows that these costs are borne by the users, not the individual taxpayers themselves, but that would just be the people that use the water system. So Article 10, I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if,
You didn't give me a chance to comment there.
oh,
Yep. Go ahead. Okay.
I just, in the spirit of Dick's note, can we amend that this article does not affect the tax rate and is funded entirely by the end users? Just adding that one word to make it very clear.
Where, can you read that to me one more
the,
time?
we can't, this already, I'm sorry, just to correct that, this already came from legal. Because he was part of the lengthy discussion that went on at deliberative. And this was the language that he said that we would have to utilize. But what I was going to comment on is that we also do speak at deliberative with a rationale. Each board member will speak to, whoever's speaking to the article. And especially to Dick's comments, the plan is to stress that fact in the rationale to further sort of get that point across. But I did have to vet these all through legal for the language that they were going to allow us to utilize.
All right,
There will be a rationale with each and every one.
so then I will cast my vote as a yes.
Okay.
So all in favor is yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Article number 11, Capital Reserve Fund Appropriations. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $181,500.00 to be added to the following capital reserve funds previously established. Police Department Building CRF, $10,000. Rock and Asphalt Crushing CRF, $12,000. Building Department Vehicle CRF, $3,500. Assessing Department Vehicle CRF, $3,500. Highway Sand Shed CRF, $10,000. Sidewalk CRF, $15,000. Senior Center CRF, $20,000. Town-owned parking area CRF, $20,000. Environmental CRF, $20,000. Building and Improvement Transfer Station, Improvements Transfer Station CRF, $20,000. Jones Field CRF, $12,500. Milfoil Treatment Program CRF, $10,000. Alton Bay Community Center CRF, $20,000. And Water Bandstand CRF for $5,000. Said funds to be raised through taxation.
Mr. Shea had a question. Under the capital reserve funding, is the water bandstand CRF new?
No, been in existence for some time. We tried last year to streamline the process a little bit by putting it into an operating budget line under DPW. Unfortunately, when we went to default, we lost the funding for that because it had never been in the operating budget. So
It's not.
this year, we're going back to the CRF.
I make a motion, we approve Article number 11.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll finish this page and then you can read some of the next page.
Sure, you can go ahead and read that.
I didn't do it with the other ones, but, I think there wasn't. But we can.
If you want to, just for the record, if you want to go back and just note the tax impact on those, that's fine. I don't think it's one way or the other.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to Article 8. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm gonna give the estimated tax impact on each of the ones we've just done. So starting with the Article number 8, benefit pay capital reserve fund, the estimated tax impact is 2 cents. Article 9, town operating budget. The estimated tax impact is $4.41. Waterworks operating budget, Article number 10. Tax impact, 0. Article 11, capital reserve fund appropriations. The tax impact on that is 8 cents. Article 12, we're starting now. Article 12, fire department equipment capital reserve. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $300,000 to be added to the fire department equipment capital reserve fund as previously established in 1973, recommended by the selectmen. The estimated tax impact is 13 cents.
I vote we approve Article number 12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Article 13, Fire Department Building Improvements Capital Reserve. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $300,000 to be added to the Fire Department Building Improvements Capital Reserve Fund previously established in 2005. This fund is utilized in conjunction with the capital improvement plan for the replacement of fire department buildings. This estimated tax impact is 13 cents.
Make a motion to approve Article 13.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 14, Fire Department additional personnel. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $318,000 for the purpose of hiring 4 additional full-time firefighters, EMS providers. These funds will cover the balance of the current year's worth of wages and benefits for the 4 full-time positions. This estimated tax impact would be 14 cents.
I make a motion, we approve Article number 14.
We have a second?
Second.
Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Article 15, Highway Building Improvements, Repairs, Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the Highway Building Improvements, Repairs, Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2014. This estimated tax impact is 2 cents.
Make a motion, we approve Article number 15.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
16.
Article number 16, Bridge Replacement Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 to be added to the Bridge Replacement Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 1995, and also to designate the selectmen as agents to expend from said fund. The estimated tax impact is 0.07. And to just, revert to Mr. Shea's notes, he had asked, should we call out the bridges needing attention under the bridge replacement CRF? And I don't believe we can because this all went through legal, right?
Yeah, so what it is, we're putting money away into a capital reserve. So calling it out in the verbiage of a warrant article would mean it would be specifically for that use and that use only.
Mhm.
When the capital reserve was established in 1981, the use was already established and recorded with DRA. But to Mr. Shea's point on that, the bridge fund is primarily to use to repair and replace red listed bridges. Currently, to my knowledge right now, the only red listed bridge or bridge that's in drastic, dire need of attention is the historical bridge on the other end of Roberts Cove. We've had issues with, it's a stone lined bridge. And the stones have, a couple of them have come loose and fallen down. I know that there's been some temporary fixes over the years to try to brace that back up. But that is one of the bridges that will need, attention sooner than later. We're just right now, we utilized this fund recently with the Loon Cove Bridge and also the bridge over, deck over on Roberts Cove when they did the road replacement. So we're in a rebuilding phase right now with this capital reserve because we've depleted it, significantly with the last replacement. So we're trying to raise more money up, so we have it to make the next replacements.
Thank you.
And I could definitely, again, to the point of making sure that that's clarified, add deliberative as well in the rationales.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve Article 16, Bridge Replacement Capital Reserve Fund for 150,000.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 17, Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of 150,000 to be added to the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 1981. Tax impact is 7 cents. Would be 7 cents.
I make a motion to approve Article 17, Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund for 150,000.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Article number 18, Retaining Wall Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $75,000 to be added to the Retaining Wall Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2018. The estimated tax impact is 3 cents. And this is another one.
From Mr. Shea.
Yep, Mr. Shea asked spell out that the retaining wall CRF is for the repair replacement of the Bay Area walls.
In those, the purpose is clearly stated when they establish CRFs, and that's what's recorded with DRA, so that the money can only be allocated for that purpose and that purpose only.
Okay.
All right. Oh, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve Article number 18, Retaining Wall Capital Reserve Fund for 75,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 19, Grounds and Maintenance Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $45,000 to be added to the Grounds and Maintenance Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2019. Estimated tax impact is 2 cents.
I'll make a motion to approve Article 19.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 20, Town Hall Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to be added to the Town Hall Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2011. The estimated tax impact is 1 cent. And Mr. Shea's note, it says for the Town Hall CRF, add supporting details, project specifics to the extent possible, which again, I'm sure will be addressed in deliberative.
Yeah, we're
Correct.
definitely that's part of the rationales.
Yep.
In discussion, again, we can't change the purpose of the CRS that once the town body has already adopted the purpose.
I know, he asked us to read them though.
Oh,
I still gotta read them.
that's why I printed them and
Yeah.
put them here.
Yeah,
Just to make
that's
sure that
fine.
we did go.
That's
through.
fine, but we will be going through
Yep.
it in deliberative.
All right, I make a motion, we approve Article number 20.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 21, Town Hall Part-Time Personnel. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $28,600 for the purpose of hiring one part-time assistant in the town clerk's office and one part-time assistant in the building department to help with the current workload and cover leave time for the balance of the current year. The estimated tax impact is 1 cent.
I make a motion to approve Article 21, Town Hall Part-Time Personnel for $28,600.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 22, New Riverside Cemetery Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the New Riverside Cemetery Capital Reserve Fund previously established in 2023. Estimated tax impact is 2 cents. Make a motion, we approve Article number 22.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 23, Highway Reconstruction Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,450,000 to be added to the Highway Reconstruction Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 1998. Said amount is partially offset by revenues from the Highway Block Grant Fund estimated to be $205,233. This is the annual appropriation that provides for the maintenance of existing roadways. Estimated tax impact is 56 cents.
I'll make a motion to approve Article 23, Highway Reconstruction Capital Reserve Fund.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We don't want to lose track of Mr. Shays. These are later
Yep,
on.
yep, no, I've been following it.
Article number 24, IT Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 to be added to the IT Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2020. The estimated tax impact is 2 cents. Make a motion, we approve Article number 24.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 25, Solar Exemption. To see if the town will vote to amend pursuant to RSA 72:27 A, the solar exemption adopted at the 1985 annual meeting to read as follows. The solar exemption shall be equal to 100% of the assessed value of the installed solar energy system. The solar exemption shall apply to the solar energy system owned by the applicant and shall not apply to rented or leased equipment nor on property not owned by the applicant. And
This is also an article for Mr. Shea on here.
yep,
wrote
he
a
wrote,
note.
although I don't have a vote, I'm not in favor of the solar exemption article. I see no reason why all taxpayers should subsidize residential solar systems. Their justification by individual property owners should be based on a straightforward cost/benefit evaluation only by anyone considering such a system. The town should not be using tax policy to influence people's behavior.
Just to clarify, and I definitely understand Mr. Shea's point. Just to be clear, though, we already have a solar exemption. We're not voting whether to keep it or to adopt it. It's to amend it. And the reason why the assessor put forth the rationale to me so that I could explain it to legal too. So our current solar exemption right now is not beneficial to the town in the sense that that people are allowed to get the exemption on leased or rented equipment from somebody else. So they're not putting forth the purchase price, yet they're receiving an abatement or a solar exemption for 100% of the value of a rented or leased piece of equipment, and also for the fact that it doesn't specify right now that it has to be on a piece of property that the applicant owns. So this amendment the assessor is trying to do is to fine tune that original exemption that was adopted in 1985 to make it a little bit clearer and more precise to giving benefits specifically to the people that have purchased a solar system unit for the applicant's own piece of property.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's not very clear the way
No.
it's
yeah,
presented,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So I'll make a motion. We approve article number 25.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 26, Police Department Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to establish a capital reserve fund under the provisions of RSA 35:1 for the purpose of purchasing, repairing, and replacing police equipment, and to raise and appropriate $30,000 to be placed in this fund, and to appoint the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend from this reserve fund. The estimated tax impact is 1 cent.
Make a motion to approve, Article 26, Police Department Equipment Capital Reserve Fund.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 27, nonprofits. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $64,325 for the purpose of supporting the following nonprofits in their individual appropriations. Alton Community Services, $15,000. American Red Cross, $2,000. Caregivers of Southern Carroll County and vicinity Incorporated, $2,000. Granite VNA and Hospice, $12,000. Community Action Program, $10,000. Court-appointed special advocates, $500. Lakes Region Mental Health Center, I'm not sure, FKA Genesis, $15,750. Life Ministries Incorporated, $3,000. New Beginnings, $1,575. Waypoint FKA Child and Family Services, $2,500. The estimated tax impact is 3 cents.
We also make a mention of Mr. Shays on this. I'm very much opposed to splitting up the group of 20K and under CRS funds or other group of nonprofit organizations appropriations. I'm not sure if the final decision on this rests with the BOS or the Budget Committee, but 50+ individual articles are simply too many. I received several comments from residents last year expressing their appreciation for the reduction in the number of articles. We should point out that the deliberative session that anyone who opposes or wishes to increase any individual fund can propose the amendment to that effect. That's from Mr.
Got it.
Shea. And I'll make a motion to approve Article 27, nonprofits.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm actually going to vote against this one. I don't agree with Mr. Shea's assessment.
Okay.
Article number.
that? Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'll wait.
Article
27.
27.
Article number 28, welcome to Alton sign. To see if the town will authorize the sum of $10,000 for the purpose of a sign stating welcome to Alton to be placed at the appropriate area near the Alton Rotary, the circle. This is a petition article.
This will be strictly a petition of.
Yeah, a petition article.
Mhm.
Well, I'll make a motion. We approve article number 28 to go to voting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article number 29, reports of committees. To hear reports of any committees, am I missing a page? To hear reports of any committees, boards, trustees, commissions, officials, agents, or concerns of voters and vote to accept the same. Furthermore, to conduct any other business that may legally come before said meeting.
We don't.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. All right. Thank you for your assistance, Nick.
Yes, sir.
I will emphasize, there was one more note from Mr. Shea. And he would said, well, we should also emphasize that the various articles addressing equipment needs are based on the CIP 5-year plan, which was developed by the CIP committee over several months and approved by the planning committee unanimously, I think, after a public hearing. And that was it for Mr. Shea. Okay. Selectmen reports. Drew?
No meetings, no report.
I got nothing.
The planning board was not, it wasn't as crazy as initially thought. A couple things got tabled, so that's the only one I have to report.
Okay, and I don't have anything at this time. Town administrator?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay,
Holy.
I don't think your voice would handle it anyway.
Somebody get that on camera?
Yeah.
We get that, somebody got that, right?
Wow.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, thank you. Approval of the minutes, December 10th, 2024, public session. I didn't see it in there. Oh, there it
They're
is.
in the
I
back.
got it. Yeah,
Way back.
I see it.
I will make a motion. We approve the December 10th, 2024 public session minutes.
You were excused. so-
Oh, yeah, right.
You weren't here.
There.
You weren't
It's
here.
my bad.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 10th, 2024 public session.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Stay.
Yes, yes. Okay, consent agenda approval. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda for this evening, December 23rd.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There are no requests for appointments. I see no public input for the second time. I'll entertain the adjournment.
Go ahead.
Make a motion
Motion to,
to get out of here.
yeah, to get.
Second that.
That's.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Can't remember what the-
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
I